Welcome everyone to another episode of Starmade. Guys, today I have something rather special for you. An idea I've actually stolen from Skylord Luke, which I occasionally watch. He's a really good YouTuber for Starmade, so check him out. I will link the video I'm referring to in the description. He presented it more as a showcase, and of course we're gonna do it more as a let's play thing, because that's what this series is. But nevertheless, what we're gonna do today, as you probably might have guessed from the title of this video, we're gonna do modular ship building. Now what you see here is a bunch of modules which I have already prepared off camera, so that we'll have a rather easy task in order to continue with this episode. The modules I've already built, as you can see right here, is the core room. This lamp currently represents the core room. We'll have to divide the core room up into two modules. All the modules are 7 blocks in length, height and width. Right here we have the basic shape of a cockpit. I'm not really that happy with it. We have a camera in here so that we can switch to the individual cockpits which we are gonna spawn in. Right here we have a power module which contains some power reactor modules and of course the recharge units. Also 7 in length so that we can fit these individual pieces together rather easily. Right here I have the design of a corridor through which we can go. It's just 1 by 1 or in our case 7 by 7, but it's only the size of one module and we can go into each individual direction. We have a signal trigger right here which we can step on in order to activate all of the doors. Right here we have basically the same thing, but it is a little bit longer. It has the length of 3 modules, and on the inside it looks as follows. You have a bunch of skylights on which you can actually place different modules, and you have a whole lot of exits on which we can attach different corridors and lead to different parts in our ship. Right here this is a thruster module. We can combine these modules in any way we like. Since all of these modules are 7 by 7 by 7, this should actually work. Next up we have the shield module with recharge units and capacitors, and the final module I have built off camera is for storage units. So here we have 3 storage units to which we should actually be able to go using one of these corridor modules. So this is what I have built off camera, but I thought there is a bunch of other modules we could try and build together, such as a harvesting module or a missile module, just a bunch of fun stuff. Maybe also some decorative stuff such as a living room or a toilet area or whatever the heck we want. Okay, so what shall we do together? I think a good starting point would be a living room area. Now, I don't want the living room area to be only 7 by 7 by 7 blocks. I want it to be a little bit bigger in size. So let's actually try to accomplish that. I'm just gonna place a few helper blocks so we know where we actually want to start. And I think that's gonna be right about here. Okay, great. So right here we have a 5 by 5 platform. This is the area we have space for in one module. On this layer and upwards there will be the hull, same thing right here and also right here. Now this would mean that the hull of the next module is right here and the hull of the adjacent module to the left side would be right here. And then right here we would have the next module of 5 by 5, which means right here is going to be the hull of this module. Now the reason I'm doing it like this is of course so that the length doesn't screw us up. We want it to be exactly the same width as 2 of those modules. But in the end we're just gonna take apart this wall and connect the floor so that we have one big living room area. And we're gonna do the same thing right here. Right, so this is gonna be the size of our living room area, the same size as 4 of our modules compacted together. Right, so because 2 of our modules combined together equal actually in a not odd number, we're gonna have to uncheck this before we actually set our symmetry planes. We're gonna attempt to hit the center, of course. There we go, that should be good. Also, we should think about how high we want to make this module, and I think I just want to make it the same height as 1, which means we have to check the odd symmetry mode again. Oh no, we cannot have odd and not odd symmetry mode at the same time. So we're gonna have to do a few more steps, but that's fine. Symmetry mode helped me out thus far. So let's just place a bunch of those wedges like that. Gonna get rid of the black hole. which I just needed in order to be sure I'm doing the right thing. Great, so now that we have smoothed this one out, we can also place down one of these armored tetras. Not the easiest to place, but they actually smooth out pretty well, I have to say. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and make a bunch of pillars right here. Gonna have normal blue hull right there with our smoothed out edges as usual. Now, of course, we have to think about from where we want to access the living room, and because we're thinking modular here, I'm just gonna add a bunch of doors on each side where I think accessible modules will be necessary. So maybe the two front sides right there. I'm not sure yet. So let me quickly finish the living room, maybe add another module, and I'll be right back. There we go, guys. We have a bunch of additional modules which I have completed. They are not the most exciting ones, but I have to admit it is more about the concept right now, and I will have to figure out lots more cool designs. This is just one of the sets that we are gonna create. As you can see, I completed the salvage cannon module and also an antimatter cannon module. Of course, we will have to put a few of these modules together in order to build a more efficient device. But nevertheless, in here we also have a module containing the computers which are currently connected up to these modules, and I hope this state will actually get saved once we copy it over. Nevertheless, we do know that our modules are all 7 by 7 by 7, so that's what we are gonna adjust our copying cube to be. And we're gonna copy one of those cubes. Now, I figured that unfortunately it doesn't work with these wedges, with these kinds of wedges. We will have to remove one of those guys and add a normal block, or one of these normal wedges will do as well. But since we will have to exchange the block anyways, we're just gonna go with a normal block. We're gonna copy this module over and save it as set01, and that's gonna be the computer room, right? Next up, we want to copy over this thing, so we need an additional helper block here as well, and I think it's just gonna be the same thing when we want to paste in stuff. We will have to have the according helper block at the right location. Now, I've just seen that I need to build these modules a little bit larger. They need to be extended by one block on each side. My mistake, so we're gonna copy these over in just a bit. And of course, for things such as the living room, we will have to adjust the size. So this one is gonna be 14 by 14. Place another helper block right here, and now we should be able to copy this over just as easily and save it as the set01 living room. Great, so once I stored all of these modules in a template, we're gonna start putting the ship together, and hopefully this is just gonna be one set of many, so that we have different themes that we can go with. And maybe you can even create your own sets and send them to me via email or YouTube or whatever. Let me know about them so that I can show them off in my world as well. Of course, they don't have to be 7 by 7 by 7, they can be a lot larger, the individual modules, but I figured that even 7 by 7 by 7 is rather small. So I think with the next set I tend to go a little bit bigger. Nevertheless, let me finish saving the templates and I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. We are in a new ship core in the building mode. I have all my templates ready. If we go into the load section, you can see we have lots of set 01 modules. Of course, first of all, we want to place our core room module. I already placed the helper block we're gonna need. Overall, we're not gonna need that many helper blocks, but for this one, we definitely need it. So let's paste it in just like this. Perfect. Wanna exit the paste mode and we're gonna remove this helper block. So now since the core was in the way, my light block didn't get placed, which is actually good. That was only a placeholder. Nevertheless, let's check the direction our ship is pointing, and it is this one. So what I want to do is place a bunch of corridors right now. We're gonna go into the load section and we're gonna place a 1 by 3 corridor, and I want to place it in the front and in the back of the core. So let's see where we actually have to do this, and I believe it's gonna be this block right there. Let's check if we have actually done the right thing. We're gonna have to do a bunch of corrections here on the top, but everything else seems to be intact. Yeah, we have access to the core room and we don't seem to be shifted. Perfect. So we're gonna add this module once again. We can use the mouse wheel in order to rotate things around. We just have to figure out which helper key we need to use, and in this case it is shift, so we can turn the whole thing around, and then we have to turn it around normally so that we can get the right orientation. And now we should be able to also place that down right here. Okay, so this is the front of the ship and this is the back of the ship. So let's say the back is gonna be a little bit larger, thus we're gonna add yet another corridor module right there. Okay, now I've actually made a mistake. I misplaced this guy slightly, so let's undo that. A function I love, by the way. And we'll have to have the corridor like this. Okay, from the looks of it, we're gonna need another helper block to make this happen. So let's place that guy right here, and maybe now we will be able to actually paste this thing correctly. Yeah, that's already looking much better. Okay, great. I think that's what we're gonna do. We might have to do a bunch of adjustments with the activation pressure plates, and maybe we also want to cut off this door, but for the time being, I think I'm happy with my corridor system. We're gonna add one more large corridor right here, another large one right there, and these are going to be all the large ones that we're adding. So let me actually prepare all of that stuff and I'll be right back once we're ready to place other modules. Great, I placed a bunch of corridors and I also started with the power modules. The power modules go really easy to paste, and I figured instead of finding the sweet spot, we're just going to go with 2 helper blocks right here, and we're gonna paste it on top of it, and this will always work. We already have another power module placed. Now with 6 of these modules, we currently have 344,000 power capacity with a recharge speed of 57,091. So that's pretty good, I have to admit. I'm gonna remove this helper block I used in order to copy things, and we're gonna choose this orientation in order to fix it up. Once you get the hang of it, it actually goes really fast. Nevertheless, we will have to paste in another one, so let's prepare the helper blocks for that and paste it in right away. And it should be connecting up smoothly with everything. Okay, that's actually great. Seeing this, I am really intrigued how this thing will look like once we have finished it. I left just enough space to add a bunch of living room areas right here and over there. So let's try to accomplish that. As you can see, I added a bunch more modules. Right on top of here we have some shield modules, lots of power modules. Down below we have the living area. Everything connects up smoothly, which is great. We also have installed our first cockpit in the front area right there. And I think what I'm gonna do is finish this thing off camera and present you with the results to finish off this episode. Well guys, I have to get this episode to an end, even though I don't think I'm really finished, but I placed each module which we had so far and tried to make a nice spaceship shape. Now of course, after placing the modules you can always refine the edges and make the transitions look a lot better, combining modules, adding some struts there and then. I have to say I'm very fond of this building technique, and maybe we can make use of that in the future in a much larger and more detailed scale. This of course is still a very small ship. This would still fit into the hangar of my mothership, but you're very welcome to make your own module sets and actually send them to me so that I can build new cool ships using them. That would definitely be awesome. But other than that, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. I will have to render this episode as fast as possible. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great time, and hopefully I'm gonna catch you the next time. Bye bye.